I almost didn't show up on day one of my 100-day challenge. And what really happened? So, yesterday was day one of the 100-day posting and creating a pattern a day challenge that I set for myself in order to get out of a creative funk and gain momentum in order to maybe start a business or see what happens in the future. But for now, I'm just going through the days day by day. And what happened when I didn't show when I almost didn't show up yesterday? So what had happened was I woke up and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna set a routine for myself so that this challenge can be as frictionless as possible in order for me to get a video out every day. And I was just like, okay, you wake up, have a shower, do your skincare, do your breakfast and coffee, whatever it is that I'm doing in the morning, and then come and sit down and do your pattern, which I did. And I created the pattern first thing in the morning. But then I didn't create the video immediately afterwards. Instead, I was like, I'm gonna make it in the golden hour period of time when the sun is like golden colored. But yesterday there was an eclipse. So I hadn't budgeted for that and I just kept putting it off. And what I felt when I was putting off shooting the video for um for the challenge was I felt frustrated. Like why do I keep postponing this video, shooting this video, documenting what happened today? And there was some guilt as well that was baked into that. Like, oh, why am I not posting what's going on? And the way I was dealing with that was I had a really fantastic book I was reading. So I just focused on that, reading the book. But the idea of not of postponing just kept like allowing my frustrations and guilt and kind of like, am I really not going to show up for myself? Thoughts that were starting to fester and compound and turn into something not pleasant. And I was just like, wait, why am I even doing this challenge? I'm not doing it just to show up every day, just to tick a box and be like, oh, I showed up. I'm doing it because I want to see if I can grow from this, if I can gain momentum from this, that can shift my life from where it is now to where I want it to be. Like, can I actually pursue my dream life if I do this for 100 days? Can this actually change my life if I do this for 100 days? And when I started thinking like that, I was like, okay, if I don't show up for myself today, what are the consequences? I'm gonna doubt myself. I'm gonna start thinking if I'm like I can't even do this, and the negative self talk we have. Um, but at the same time, because I'd done the pattern, I was like, I can't waste the pattern that I did. I have to show up, not for others, but for myself, so that I can see for myself whether I really trust myself enough to put myself out there and show up, basically. So that's what happened before I posted. By the time I recorded the video, it was like late at night. The solar eclipse had come and gone. The sun had come up. I come out again a little bit, and I was just like, okay, let's record. Part of the other reasons why I felt that I was struggling with the shooting was because I was like, do I really have an idea of what I want to say? Do I really have I wasn't quite clear on what I wanted to say for day one. And I'm not like I haven't scripted my videos. Um so I'm just coming out unfiltered, raw, thinking out loud in the process. And that is allowing me to discover before I go there actually, that is allowing me to grow, and that is allowing me to see aspects of myself that I wasn't like that I thought were out of reach for me. But before I get sidetracked by that particular thought, how did I actually feel when I did show up in the end? When I showed up for myself, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you can do it, even when you don't feel like doing it, even when you're feeling like, when you're building that negative self-talk in your mind about why you don't want to do it or why you can't do it or whatever the reason. And I'm sure you may feel the same way too when you make a commitment to yourself. You may feel like, oh, you may feel resistance towards the thing you want to do. And you may feel like, if I don't show up for myself, it's not really a big deal. But for me, I've realized that when I showed up for myself, I wasn't starting from zero. And I'll give you an example. Exhibit A, I don't know if I can put it up on screen, the pattern that I made today. So the pattern I made today was something that I made using a lot of skills and techniques that I learned over the years when it came to surface pattern designing. And when I first started creating the pattern, I started by thinking about the relationships in the colors, like like color theory, um and that looked like picking colors next to each other. So I think they're called anug no, I can't even pronounce it. Anogalus? Oh, anyway, so these colors were next door neighbors to each other, and I started thinking about the contrasting colors that I could use as a background, and I started thinking about all of the systems that you have to think about when you're creating a pattern. Like I thought, I could do this in a normal square, uh, normal. I can't remember what the name of the like basic block of a pattern is, where it's just a square. It's in the normal square shape, and you put your motifs on the pattern, when you do blow up the pattern, it's like the squares are all next to each other in a grid, like a grid pattern, basically. But today I was like, let me make a diamond um, layout pattern and let me see how that works. And I say all of this to say that when I did show up for myself, I wasn't starting from zero. I was starting from the database or the bank of knowledge of what previous me built up, and when she was showing up for herself in the past. So sometimes we think that when that if you've got to show up for yourself, if you're doing something new, that you have to start from zero every day. What I'm experiencing is that no, you don't necessarily have to start from zero every day, and that takes out some of the anxiety from creating every day, because you realize that you're based, like at least I realized that I was building from something that had a foundation. And even if you're starting something new, completely brand new, you as a person are all your past experiences, and I as a person am all my past experiences. And that allows us to pull from that, and from, like, there's the saying that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Well, what I'm trying to say is that you're also your own giant, because you're coming from everything that you've experienced, everything that you have learned, everything, all the knowledge you have gained, that is um showing up as, you know who you are today. And so you're not starting from zero. And anytime you decide that you want to show up for yourself and try something new. So that was day one. Day two, I think I've already showed what the pattern looks like. This is the time lapse of the pattern, like just me creating from like scratch, the process that I was describing, so you can see. And what I really liked about this pattern that I created, and what I really liked about how it shows that showing up for yourself, there's always some sort of payout, and no matter how small it um, is that like the motifs I used were just, it was just mark making. So basically, mark making is just that doodling, scratching this, just filling the blank paper with something. And that was like a really enjoyable experience. It's always an enjoyable experience when I create a pattern for myself, because I feel like I really let go and I don't self censor myself. I don't worry about, like, when I do show up, how do I show up? I just show up and allow myself to let loose and let the ideas come as they are, and that that's the process basically. So how did I feel after I showed up for myself? I was just like, oh, thank God. I was relieved. I was like, thank God that I did in the end, like, pull it off, record the video, edit it, upload it to YouTube, and it was done. And sometimes that's all we need. We don't necessarily need to worry about, like, is it done to the best of my ability? It was done to the best of my ability with the energy that I had that day, and that's enough. Um, I want to say something that may resonate with you, or it may not. But basically, what I noticed when I showed up for myself yesterday was, when I was basically, there was a system that was starting to show up in a way, which is basically where when how do I say this clearly? It is basically when I showed up for myself, I started to think, oh, so I can do the thing. Why was I holding myself back? And also, I realized that I started to trust myself a little more, which is why day two, today, I decided that first thing in the morning after I do the pattern, I'm going to record the video. And then it's done and it's out of the way, right? Um, and today there's less anxiety in creating, there's more joy in creating, because I'm not putting that pressure on myself that, oh, I'm postponing, and I have to show up for myself. Do you know? So that was the experience that I've had today, and that's what I wanted to share today. My name is Tandy, and I'm a multi passionate maker and a surface pattern designer who is reimagining what work looks like for me. And that looks like doing this 100-day challenge and not just creating like patterns every day, but learning something about myself every single day in the process. And hopefully you learn something about yourself in the process as well. And all the claims and the things that I say about the experience, or the experiments that I'm going through, you get to see what happens. Does it actually come to fruition, or is it just something that sounded good but wasn't practical? So you get to see that. So I hope I see you tomorrow, where I'll be back with another pattern and with another idea that I'll be sharing with you. And I will see you then. Bye bye.